What makes an open world game truly great? Now, it's not just about how vast the map is, like Minecraft, Just Cause or Far Cry. A great open world game is defined by how immersive and real its world feels and the freedom you have to explore it. Similarly, the essence of a good RPG isn't just about how many customization options you have or how many endings you unlock, though a little variety never hurt anyone, right? It's something deeper, something that really clicks with you when you play. Through all my gaming adventures, and trust me, they've been a lot, we came to realize what truly makes an RPG unforgettable. Stick around and you will discover it too, and maybe even find out why we share the same love for endless questioning and character building. I've been playing video games since I was a kid, over 19 years of pressing buttons, saving worlds, and occasionally yelling at my screen. In that time, I have probably played more games than I can count. Seriously, who's keeping the track? But through all those late night sessions and endless quests, I have came to know exactly what I love in a game and what makes me want to toss my controller across the room. Now in this video, I'm not here to give you a lecture on what makes a RPG good or bad. Nope, that's been done to death. Instead, I'm going to take you on a journey through my complicated love and hate relationship with RPGs and share my probably very biased vision of the perfect RPG. So buckle up and let's dive in. Okay, let me take you back to my gaming origin when I was just a kid. Picture this. I was in the 2nd grade and my older brother got a gift from our dad, a PC. Now 19 years ago, a PC was a big deal for our family, especially when it wasn't exactly built for gaming. Soon after, my dad bought a basic cheap laptop, and let me tell you, neither of those were gaming rigs by any stretch of imagination. Before we got the PC, my brother and I were already gaming on our old Nintendo, rocking classics like Mario and Duck Hunt in co-op. But when we first got our hands on PC, with a whooping 2 GB of RAM and a processor that could barely keep up with a snail, we were amazed. We gamed all day and night on that thing, playing whatever we could get our hands on, running 2013 titles like Crisis 3, forget it. That was like asking a turtle to win a race against a cheetah. So we stuck to our older titles like GTA San Andreas, Max Payne and Total Overdose. We even managed to scrap together 5 or 10 FPS on Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, which was practically a slideshow. But hey, we made it work, right? But enough of my gaming struggles, let's get to the good stuff. One day, my brother came home with a DVD of an RPG game called Drakensang, the River of Time.
Gladys, come down.
Well, Forgrim.
You have probably never heard of it. If you have, kudos to you, and if you actually played it, congratulations, you're a true gaming legend. This game introduced me to a whole new world of turn-based combat RPGs. At first, I hated it. I was used to fast-paced action games like GTA and Prince of Persia, but Drakensang slowly grew on me. It took me few days to get used to those turn-based combat, but as I progressed, I unlocked new areas, learned new moves, and was introduced to the world of elves, dwarves, humans, and mages. This was my first time experiencing something like this. A quest log to manage, skill to master, and a world to dive into. It was so magical that I ended up completing it 3 times with 3 different races. Can you imagine that? I remember balancing my time between Resident Evil 4 and Drakensang, playing one to get my horror fix and the other to relax and explore. The music in Drakensang was so calming, the quest so engaging that I just fell in love with it. However, looking back now, I realized Drakensang is a pretty mediocre game. No multiple endings, no nudity, no steamy romances like in Dragon Age. But Drakensang holds a special place in my heart because it gave me a sense of freedom, a captivating environment, and a quest I never experienced before. But as much I cherish those memories, not every RPG gives me that same sense of wonder these days. In fact, I have found myself becoming more critical of RPGs as time goes on. Maybe it's because I have played many of them, or maybe it's just that my tastes have evolved. Either way, not every RPG hits the mark for me anymore. One of the biggest reasons for that, bloat. Some modern RPGs feel like they are cramming in every possible way, thinking more is better. Massive open worlds filled with million quests, endless crafting systems, skill trees that look like they belong in a science textbook. It can all get a bit overwhelming. Don't get me wrong, I love games with depth, but sometimes it feels like developers are just keep us busy rather than creating something meaningful. Then there's the issue of choice. A lot of RPGs promise a million different choices and outcomes, but how many of those choices actually feel impactful? Sometimes it feels like the illusion of choice. No matter what you pick, the game funnels you down the same path. I miss the days when a decision could genuinely surprise you, or when the consequences of your actions lingered long after the moment had passed. And let's talk about storytelling. Some RPGs these days seem to forget that a good story needs to be more than a checklist of tropes. I have played through enough chosen one narratives and saved the world quest lines that last a lifetime. What I crave now are stories that feel fresh, with characters that actually make me care about them. Give me flawed heroes, complex villains, and moral dilemmas that make question my own choices. But perhaps the biggest thing that has changed for me is time. When I was younger, I could play endless hours into a game, exploring every hook and cranny, chasing down every side quest. Now I'm looking for RPGs that respect my time. I want games that get to the point, that deliver rich experiences without requiring 100 hours to see it through. So while I still love RPGs, I've become more selective. I don't just want any RPG, I want the ones that offer something truly special, the ones that draw me into their captivating world and their stories, and make me feel like my choices actually matter. That's why my relationship with RPGs is complicated. When they are good, they are unforgettable. But when they are not, let's take a trip down memory lane to another example from my past. Those glorious hours I sunk into Skyrim. Yes, Skyrim, the game that promised you the greatest freedom and an open world like no other. Sure, some games aren't fans of Bethesda's style, and I get it. I mean, Starfield disappointed a lot of people, and as much as I want to love Fallout, I just don't vibe with it in the way I do with medieval settings like Skyrim and The Witcher. I remember the first time I played Skyrim. During the intro, I saw a mountain way off in the distance. Naturally, I thought that's just the background scenery. No way I'm getting up there. But then when I dove into the open world, my mind was blown. Turns out you can see it, you can go there. With a little effort, some climbing, and maybe a bit of stubbornness, the freedom and sheer number of choices in this game were incredible. If I took down a dragon in Whiterun, the rumor will spread all the way to Riften. Sure, it was buggy and the protagonist was silent as a mime at the library, but who cares when the world is so immersive? You could be anything. Vampire? Done. Jarl? Done. Legendary thief? Done. And if you got tired of being a vampire, you could do a whole different quest-like ritual to become a human again. And then of course, it was time to turn yourself into a werewolf. Why not, right? I remember back then during our home tuition sessions, my friends and I would gather and inevitably end up discussing Skyrim, the good old days. Like that last time when my friend became the vampire lord in Skyrim and I couldn't stop talking about how much I loved Serena. Who wouldn't? She was just perfect blend of mischievous and deadly. Good times, right? Back then our home tuition sessions often turned into gaming discussions. Sometimes I think it wasn't just about games themselves, but more about the time and the memories we created while playing them. But that's not entirely true. Even as an adult, I'm still diving into RPGs like Elden Ring, Dark Souls, and Divinity Original Sin 2. With my friends, we summon each other, tackle bosses together, and try to complete the whole game in Dark Souls 3 and Elden Ring. So yeah, maybe it's not just about the game and place. But here's the thing, Skyrim captured that sense of freedom that's missing in a lot of modern RPGs. Take Hogwarts Legacy for example. Now, don't get me wrong, it's an amazing game. I really enjoyed exploring the beautiful world of Harry Potter. Huge fan by the way, casting spells and soaking it all in. Everything about the game is great except for the RPG elements. It's probably one of the weakest RPGs I've ever played. The whole point of Hogwarts Legacy was to create your own student, craft their identity and mold their characteristics. But no matter how many Avada Kedavra you cast, you're still everyone's favorite. No matter what you do, you're still talking nicely to everyone. And every teacher still likes you. Even the character creation is a letdown. You can try to create a unique character, but somehow they all end up looking the same. I mean, what's the point? I could keep going and compare more of my favorite RPGs with the one that missed the mark, but what's the point? It all comes down to your personal sweet spot. Maybe you love a boss rush game like DMC5, a semi-open world like God of War, or an RPG like Dragon's Dogma. It all depends on what you enjoy and the kind of experience you're looking for. And personally, I get bored easily if an RPG doesn't give me the freedom to shape my characters, or the consequences of my choices don't make sense down the line. I love leveling up, watching my characters grow stronger, exploring the world, and sometimes ignoring the main campaign entirely. That's the beauty of gaming, isn't it? There's something out there for everyone, whether you're in it for the story, the combat, or the exploration. And as much as I might grumble about the games that don't quite hit the mark, the truth is I'm still here, control in hand, ready to dive into the next adventure. So what do you think? What RPGs have stole your heart, and which ones made you question your life choices? Comment down below, and also tell me what's your favorite RPG game of all time. I will see you in the next video with more gaming content. Till then, good luck.